And we're back with another edition of the Cosmic Crossfire. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We thank you again for sticking around and listening to us here on the show. And he is back once again. He is in charge of everything at robmccallumfilms.com. You got to check out all of his great projects there today. Plus, also as well, his Backed or Busted crowdfunding site on Facebook. You just type in Backed or Busted crowdfunding to get the latest info on whether or not he's going to back or bust some great pop culture crowdfunding ideas. It is Rob McCallum. What's going on, my friend?
Well, you know, just excited to be here, and I had tagged you in a post earlier in the week on Facebook, and I hope you were going to start the show off with Crossfire! Crossfire!
I was thinking about it, but every time I go corny like that, you get on my case. So
if I tag you, it means it's okay.
Okay. I got to watch my step when it comes to you, because you never know. And when I go high or when I go a different voice,
it's the intonations and the pitch that really throws me. But if you're doing a parody of a 90s tabletop game like Crossfire, like this a little James Hetfieldian, I can let it slide.
Okay, Crossfire.
There you go.
There you go, indeed. Well,
Crossfire.
Well, speaking of being in the Crossfire, I know you've got a lot of great projects that you've been putting to the test, and you've got in the middle of your own Crossfire when it comes to backed or busted crowdfunding.
Yeah, the lots going on in Rob McCallum's films. The Kitty doc Origins Evolution is officially available for pre-order now on Amazon. Head to robmccallumfilms.com. You'll see our new poster art that we released for that there as well. And it'll take you to the best spot to pre-order. And don't forget, you get a DVD, Blu-ray, and a live album with that. So head over to robmccallumfilms.com and check out Kitty Origins Evolutions. Pre-order your copy today. And I just got back from a meeting with our good friend, Jay Bartlett. We are one step closer to announcing what we are working on, which of course is another documentary, spiritual successor, actual successor to Nintendo Quest. We don't know. We can't say. We may have said too much already. We were filming together on the weekend to get some footage in the can as we build and march towards our Kickstarter that we hope to launch in May, which of course you should back as it's not busted. Oh, see what I did there? So we'll be excited to announce that probably sometime in March, and you'll hear little tidbits and teases on this show exclusively up until then. And I know Gerald's really excited about that. And Backed or Busted continues to do really well to the point that we are now exploring a live one-day workshop intensive in London, Ontario, which I'm really excited about. I'm looking to partner with a few people to put this event on, but we're hoping to get just 20 people together in a room and talk about crowdfunding, what to do, how it works, looking at maybe, a slightly more than beginner approach to it. So we'll be asking that you come with a little bit of knowledge of what crowdfunding is in the crowdfunding process, but then we'll teach you basically what works in Kickstarter and Indiegogo, what doesn't work, and how to make your project truly amazing and get it out there and really set you up for success. So lots going on in my world. MFL continues to do incredibly well, Mutant Football League. I'm enjoying it a lot as I go back and forth between projects. And yeah, like I said, there's lots going on, but I always got time for the Crossfire, my friend. Always got time for the Crossfire.
Crossfire. All right. Well, I appreciate that so much. But a little bit off subject when you talk about the seminar workshop, for those who can't get to London, Ontario, or because I know those spots are going to fill up just like that, and they're going to be gone right away. Is there any way that it might be streamed or shown to an audience in a larger format down the road?
Maybe down the road we'll look at a closed Google Hangout streaming session or seminar or something like that. But right now, I really believe in the live, in-person, tangible networking opportunity that comes with this. I want to get gritty with these folks and get into that nitty-gritty world of crowdfunding and work with them and let the energy of the room really dictate how deep we go into one subject or another. I'm not saying no on a future streaming thing, but right now I really want to keep these workshop intensives going as a 1 or 2 day kind of session. I may look at doing some travel. I definitely want to hit up my hometown first and surrounding areas like Toronto, maybe Detroit, Cleveland, Columbus, the little Great Lakes circuit, if you will. But hey, who knows what could bring me back to Las Vegas? Who knows what could get me out to LA or New York, back in Texas, where I've got lots of roots as well. I'm open to anything. So if you've got somebody that would like a crowdfunding seminar put on, or you have a town that you think would be interested in that, hit me up, crowdfundingspectacular99@gmail.com, and we'll see what we can get in the works for you. But I really want to focus and make this first event truly, truly spectacular.
It sounds like it will be. I'm excited already for you, and I'm just truly happy with all the great things happening for you at robmccallumfilms.com. Check it out, all the great stuff he's got going on there today, including the Kitty documentary, which, again, he said is now available for pre-order. And not only are you getting, like you said, the DVD and Blu-ray, but you're getting a great live album as well.
Yeah, you're getting a live album that isn't just like of the recent show that we filmed, which will also be released later this year as the video form of the reunion show. But this live album, what makes it really special in tandem with the documentary is they've taken tracks that they recorded early on in their career at these live venues. So you get to hear what it was like in 2000 and 2004 and 5 and so on throughout the years for this band with the different lineups, but you get to hear what it was like at the moment in the legendary venues, some of which don't exist anymore. And you get to really immerse yourself in that soundscape that we paint for you in the doc, and then you get to kind of enjoy it and live it. There are tracks from the reunion show that we filmed on October 27th that culminates everything included on the audio side. But again, we will be releasing that concert film. I had a lot of fun cutting it. I'm very proud of it, and it's a fun watch to any metalhead out there, any hard rock act. You're gonna love it. It's amazing.
I bet it will be. And when it comes from Rob McCallum, you know you're going to get the best indeed. So, Rob, I know you've got a lot to talk about when it comes to pop culture, as always. So, pray tell, Rob, what's going on in your world when it comes to pop culture?
I've got 5 topics that I want to talk about today, Gerald, and I'm just, as always, with the Cosmic Crossfire, I like to bounce it off you to see what you think, really as a sanity check for myself. Am I the only one that thinks these things are skewed or different, or is my take on them really that cynical or Canadian or metric or whatever you will? I don't know. I need somebody to help me figure it all out, and you're that guy. So the first thing, I thought we would pack our bags, get our passports ready, make sure we got the sunscreen, get ready for some R&R, take a plane ride, and then get on a boat. And what boat better than the Harry Potter cruise that was just announced? What do you think? You've been to Hogwarts on both coasts, I believe. We talked about this once or twice. You went back recently, and you're still not a fan of butterbeer.
I am still not a fan of butterbeer.
And this news broke early last week that there's a Harry Potter cruise line. This, of course, there's lots of different themed cruise lines. Disney cruises, I think, are the ones that people see advertised the most. Do we need these themed cruise lines, Gerald? What do we want to be surrounded with cabin fever in the middle of the ocean when anything can go wrong and we need someone to help? Are we going to turn to Hagrid or like the cruise version of Hagrid to hopefully cast a spell and make sure everything is safe for us? The whole point is to go to one of these theme parks, enjoy it, and then get away from it for at least 8 hours while you sleep. That's why you enjoy it more. Too much of a good thing isn't good.
Well, I will have to differ with you on that.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I am not a big fan of cruises, but I know my family has been inching towards that inevitable date to come at some point down the line.
You're so screwed. You're so screwed. You're so going on the Harry Potter cruise.
But either that or the Disney cruise. I probably will fight out for the Disney cruise because I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan, as you already know. But I will say this, whether it is the Harry Potter cruise or also as well the Disney cruises, I know it's just their way of trying to entice a younger audience. Senior citizens, elders, the elderly, older individuals, they already seem to go with these cruises in an abundance, and they just, they've already continued to fill up the lines for princess cruises and whatnot. But to get the younger audiences in, and obviously more the dollars that come with it, they need to go ahead and try and do things that are outside the box. And Disney cruises have worked for quite a spell now, and incorporating, well, it's not just the Disney characters, that are on the boat. It's just,
and this
also,
is my question to you: like, what is the selling?
Well, let me just say this. Let me just say this. It also includes the actual interaction with, you spend some time as well to go to Disney World. It's a whole Disney thing as far as it's concerned. And I know with this Harry Potter, incorporating, the universal aspect is probably a great allure as well.
Okay, I've been to Disney World a couple times. I've been to Disneyland a couple times. So when I think, oh, a Disney cruise, it's like a theme park on water. It's not. You're going to have people dressed up in characters. You might have some elaborate water slides. You'll probably get some Disney related shows that take place on the boat. But that's it. And that's where this gets let down for me. And if Disney wants to change my mind and send me on a Disney cruise with my family, I'm happy to accept that responsibility and burden. I suppose I will try to do it. You can twist my arm and give me free airfare and accommodations and the captain's quarters. I don't mind. I'll give it a go. But for right now, it just feels like a cruise with a shellac of Disney paint. And I don't know if that's enough to justify the price increase, or if it's going to be that much more fun. I can only feel like I'll be let down because I've had that theme park experience, mind you, but I feel like I can only be let down.
Well, also, you've got to realize that it is a different perspective, and it is over the, the ocean. You're going in, and you're obviously experiencing that as well. I think it's going to be okay to do at least at one point in time, but you're right. It doesn't justify 100% why the price hike over a standard cruise. But for me, I'm a theme park guy. I would rather go ahead and if I'm able to and fortunate enough to go to Orlando again, I don't want to go ahead on the cruise. I've already made that clear, but I've already told you I'm probably going to lose that battle and probably end up going on one of these cruises at some point in time, and it's going to take away from what I really want to do, and that is head to the theme parks. Because when you're in the Florida area, or also even in the California area, there's just so much to experience outside of these cruises. But then again, if let's say there's other great cruises that are out there, let's not go ahead and lump them all into one thing. Because if you're in Alaska, I think probably one of the first things I would want to do is go on a cruise to experience Alaska and all of its great beauty.
Well, you know what? I'm going to cast them all in the same boat, pun intended. I'm going to put them all in the same tub. It's a nice little water reference. Until some cruise line offers me free accommodations and free airfare and travel, and accommodates me for the time off work, I'm casting them all together, and I cannot be swayed, sir. I cannot be swayed.
You try. You're just trying to work it. I'm telling you, trying to work the system.
No, I just want an honest review. Right now, I feel a little uninformed, a little ignorant, but I just don't see enough to investigate further, and I'm turned off. Buyer beware. That deal is busted. I can't back it.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you do get a chance, and somebody does go ahead and hand over those tickets for you, just make sure you send the review over to us here at Pop Culture Cosmos.
I tell you what, I will do a daily check-in. If somebody hands over some cruise accommodations and makes that easy for me, I'll do daily check-ins and report what's going on from the 7 seas. And good or bad, it'll get out there. Which cruise line has the cojones to send me on the ocean with some podcasting equipment? Just saying.
Ahoy, matey. Ahoy.
Related to this, there was news about a Jurassic Park, Jurassic World arena show that is in the works, where the audience will interact with the stage in ways never before. Presumably, this means dinosaurs will be roaming through the audience. Any love for these arena stage shows? As much as I love Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, and I've made that very clear, I think these are all dumb. If somebody wants to give me tickets to experience it, I'm more than willing to give it a shot.
My gosh. Always working an angle. Well, I will tell you what, as someone who has 2 wonderful daughters that do enjoy these experiences, the Marvel arena shows we've been to before, and countless other kids-related concerts, shows, presentations, ice shows, skating things, and whatnot. Disney on Ice. They've made a fortune over the years. it is an experience for the younger audiences when you deal with that. But Jurassic Park, you're obviously going to get a younger audience to that. That's probably allured by the
I
fact
just
that
don't
you're going
think,
to be.
first of all, that's a really younger audience franchise. I feel like
It
that's a
is, it is,
sci-fi PG-13-ish
but
crowd.
it isn't supposed to be. Now, mind you, I agree with you on that. But I think who are you going to draw in? You're going to draw in those kids that are interested in in the dinosaurs and whatnot, and not realizing it's going to be some dinosaur eating somebody, right there on
I
the
really
stage.
hope that's how the stage opens or closes. A T-Rex just like rips open the arena and comes down and like chomps some innocent 4-year-old with glasses who can barely speak.
Oh, you got to say this, clever girl.
Clever girl.
Well, like I said, I think it's a little bit corny too. I think that's something that maybe doesn't need an arena show. But then again, there's so many properties out there that are touring out there that I have either seen with my girls or have heard about that I can't believe exists. So I don't know. It doesn't surprise me 100%, but I don't think you and I are going to be checking out unless those free tickets come our way.
Well, I'm still waiting for those tickets to arrive, and I will begrudgingly go and check it out. I've never liked any of these arena shows. I was turned off as a kid when I saw the on ice stuff, whether it was Sesame Street on ice, Disney on ice, because I would sit there and I would see Oscar the Grouch ice skating. He doesn't ice skate. You never see below like his waist or anything. So it felt like a weird misrepresentation of the characters. And even as a kid, I knew that it felt false and that wasn't the real Muppets. So that's why I can't get behind this, because the real experience and those real characters is that relationship you have when you engage with that media. So I feel like as much as they're trying to extend this and expand it, I don't buy it. It never swayed me. Much like the cruises, unless I get cruise tickets, I just can't buy into it.
Well, if you can do a Shopkins arena show, you can pretty much do anything.
I barely know what Shopkins is, and it scares me from what I do know about it. If there's an arena show for Shopkins, we're going to have to change gears. We're going to get a little serious here now, Gerald. And I'm not being facetious, even though that sounds very facetious.
I know it does.
Black Panther is set to come out in February. They just had the world premiere the other night. Is it too on the nose to release Black Panther during Black History Month?
Wow. I didn't think of it that way before, but yes, you are right. No, I think, and also the early reviews have come in, and it does send a message. It does send a message from what I'm able to ascertain in regards to diversity, and also just from what the previews and what the trailers we've seen, it sends a message as far as racial equality. And I don't think it's too much. I think it's something that needs to be said. I think it's a statement that needs to be made. And I'm just very happy for Marvel that they're going to be able to put this type of cultural statement out front and center, and they're going to make a ton of money off of it. I know we've talked about this before, and I'm just exactly, very, very, thrilled that we're going to be able to see something that a lot of people are excited for. And, I'm just hoping that that's going to be a great movie and get a lot of great box office returns. But I see a lot of great hype for it and a lot of great buzz. And I think it's going to be a great a bit of success for it. And I don't mind at all that it's coming on Black History Month. I think it actually fits right in.
So here's the problem I have with that. And it would be akin in some ways if Wonder Woman were to come out in October during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Like, I don't want the first time that we get a Black Panther movie, an African-American character, an African character, leading a massive blockbuster film from Marvel to be pigeonholed by a month that is dedicated to history of it, when you could spread that message instead of containing it to the shortest month of the year, putting it in March and extending that mission. We're going to be talking about Black history for the entire month. So put it in March, put it in April, so that we can have that message spread out when we're already going to be inundated with media during February, naturally, because of what happens in February with Black History Month, which is a whole nother discussion about why it's really isolated to that single month instead of racial equality, not just blacks versus white, but all races treated equally. Don't put a film that's this big outside of put it outside of that month. That's the statement you want to send. That this character is important. You want to release this character in May. Tell me that doesn't send a better signal than releasing it in the guaranteed month where everybody's talking about it, so it's secure box office dollars.
Well, I understand you're seeing it from a dollars and cents, and
isn't Disney and Marvel?
And ultimately, that's what they have to do. But I think it is making history in and of itself as far as the...
I agree. The film and its statement and all that stuff, 100%, it is making history of itself. We're talking specific release strategy.
And there's no better time to release it than in the middle of Black History Month. I think that's the case. But also as well, you got to have time to let it breathe before Infinity War as well. I mean, by the time it gets stale and out of theaters, it will probably be late March, early April, and then you've got another 4 weeks later, you've got Infinity War coming knocking on the doorstep. So I think it's a good time. I don't think if you put it in March, it may be too soon and it may not have time to breathe. Just like we've been talking about with Star Wars: The Last Jedi and Solo, if that ever comes to fruition.
I just disagree. I think it is too pigeonholed. I don't think it's respectful of the material and the messages that are being purported within the film. I don't think you contain a message as powerful that this says on an industry level, not just with the message within the narrative. I don't think you send this industry level message about the appeal of Black characters and racial representation on the big screen and $100+ million blockbusters. And I don't think you can find it in the 1 month where everybody's spending an extra few minutes talking about the importance of that. You move it outside and make the discussion a little bit longer, a little bit bigger. That's what you do, in my opinion. Again, I use the same analogy with Wonder Woman. You don't pigeonhole Wonder Woman in October during Breast Cancer Awareness Month because she happens to be a woman and tie that together. You put her on the stage, you put her in prime summer blockbuster territory because that's what the character deserves. And that's where you get the message about female empowerment and women equality. So it's not clouded by anything else. That's the other thing. You don't want this film to be tethered to everything else that's going on with Black History Month. You want it to stand on its own ground. You don't want some guy on a podcast or a news show to say, well, of course they released it during Black History Month because it's about Black history. No, it's not. It's not about that at all. You know what I mean? That's my fear. My bigger fear is if it flops or Wonder Woman 2 flops. If those two films flop, the industry is going to change like that on a dime saying, oh, those were flash in the pans. Wonder Woman was a flash in the pan. We're not going to do anything like that anymore.
Or Captain Marvel.
Exactly.
Well, I think it is making history, and I think it is the perfect time to do it. And like I said, I wasn't even thinking about the correlation in time. I was just looking forward to the actual movie itself. But I can understand why, and like from a business sense, yeah, it is what it is. But making some big time statements coming out in that weekend, because also it is a very, very heavy and busy weekend because people seem to go out to the movies on Valentine's Day weekend.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that's so strange about having a blockbuster of this caliber released in February, which is typically comedy season, horror season, or romance, of course. And so to see a Marvel entry in February is really strange. You usually get one late March or April around Easter weekend, depending on how the calendar falls. May, of course, June and July are all up for grabs, but never February. Certainly never January.
And it will be going up against 50 Shades, the final 50 Shades, supposedly. And you and I both know that is a front-running movie. And when I say front-running movie, it means that it's going to get the bulk of its money within the first couple weeks. And then it's going to
it's operating exactly like a horror film does.
It's so front-loaded on that movie. And once the first 2 weeks is up, that's pretty much going to be, you call it a day with that movie. But Marvel knows that, they're aware of that, and it's surprising that they did put the movie when they did, but it is a highly viewed. People go to the movies, they go on their dates, they it's Valentine's Day season, so they go out to the movies a lot on that weekend. So I can see that as well. So I am pleased that it is coming out very soon. I am very excited for it, and I think you do need some breathing time between actual release of Black Panther and the Infinity War. I think March would have been a little bit too close, in my opinion. So, I know you and I disagree, but if it is a statement just because to put it on Black History Month, I hope that's not the case. I understand that's a targeted reason, and maybe that they're trying to go ahead and get, assure the highest profitable point in time for the movie, because like you said, you're risking over 100 some odd million with a production budget. But I don't mind the placement at all. But if you're saying it's just a gimmick and whatnot, which I think you're in a roundabout way you might be saying it is, and
no, I just want to make sure the politics of doing this are in the best interest, and I don't want politics in dollar risks to align. I think that's a really cruddy thing to do.
Well, I agree with you on that, but unfortunately, in our days and times right now, politics seems to get in the way of everything, and it's very unfortunate that that's the case. But I'm hopeful that Black Panther will come out as a very strong movie and a great statement towards all the things that good people hold dear.
Speaking of possibly questionable business tactics and interesting decisions, it's been reported that Richard Roeper, film critic best known for co-hosting At the Movies with Roger Ebert, has been accused by the New York Times of buying Twitter followers. And as a result, the Chicago Sun-Times will not publish any of his columns or reviews until further notice. Does it really matter?
Well, for him, he shouldn't have ever done it. But it doesn't.
Well, it's allegedly. It hasn't been proven. And does it really matter? It doesn't really matter. For me, I know who he is because of that TV show. I don't care about the number of Twitter followers he has. Some people measure their worth and the likes they get on day-to-day posts, how many followers they have. I don't care if he's got 15 million. I don't care if he has 15. The guy knows what he's doing. He's a good film critic. He's established that and proved that. Don't let his social media decisions affect the work that he wants to portray. It's his decision to buy Twitter followers. Let's say that he did do it, does not affect his review of whatever film.
He was very good as a replacement for the untimely death of Gene Siskel. I actually, to be honest with you, Rob, over the past year or two or so, every now and then I do scan the old archives of Siskel and Ebert because I miss that type of format. Yeah, I know it's been recreated and done to death with various things on YouTube, but there's nothing that recreates it as well as Siskel and Ebert. And then even Ebert and Roeper, to an extent, they were able to at least capture some of that within the next couple years after Siskel's untimely death. So I think Roeper's very good. I've listened to his work and seen his work and read his work. I think he is very solid as a film critic. Yeah, it is unfortunate if he's had to buy his Twitter followers. When you're somebody, a large celebrity or someone that's well known, like you shouldn't have to need that. When you're a smaller entity, like that was something that we discussed here at Pop Culture Cosmos when we were starting out. That was something when Game Source, when we were talking, starting out on Twitter or whatnot. I know a lot of other people. I see their numbers and whatnot. You see those, and you have a sense and you have a feeling that okay, some of these numbers are inflated, and it's something that is talked about, but. Ultimately, at the end of the day, like you said, does it really matter? It shouldn't take away from his work that he does and his opinion, because a lot of the times his opinion is very. A lot of the time, his opinion is very solid on the movies of today, and I do value what he has to say in regards to the films that he reviews.
And I mean, I want to put some biased disclaimers out there. I got to work with Richard Roeper when I shot the Chicago White Sox commercial about a year ago now-ish called We Are Timeless. And that's the one I was nominated for writing, directing, and producing. And great guy. It was very quick shoot. Didn't spend a lot of time talking to him or anything. But if you are going to judge a human being's value based on the number associated with their social media accounts, then that says something more about you than a person who may want to inflate them, because that says that they feel compelled to have to keep up in this rat race of false valuations of a popularity contest. I don't agree with the decision if that's the case that he made, but I completely understand it if he needs to get noticed or have more credibility in the world because his 100 followers wasn't enough to get him continually published compared to some other film critic that may have had 200 or something like that. You know what I mean? So I don't disagree with the tactics and the reasons in the world that we live in now. I don't like it if it's a case, but don't value somebody based on their social media statistics and let that be the informed decision that you make in terms of engagement.
Hold on, Rob. I'm just taking a look at your Rob McCallum Films Facebook site. I'm just trying to see how many people like you there. Hold on.
Not enough. Please go to facebook.com/Rob McCallum Films and give us a like. We need your help.
Pop Culture Cosmos as well. Hey, I just went over 200. I'm just happy for that. So.
We're almost at 500. I saw on Rob McCallum Films, I think.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, I don't really push the page, and I was actually surprised you mentioned Rob McCallum Films at the top of the show. We had 2 updates in January.
There you go. Well, we have updates all the time on Pop Culture.
I know. Cosmos. I'm an admin on the page. I see the thousands of notifications every day.
Well, we just try to keep it up to date.
Yeah, you definitely do. You definitely do.
But yeah, definitely. Well, Rob McCallum Films is higher on the food chain, so that makes you much better. Higher, you're much higher as a social status, according to the internet than I am.
That's because I buy all my followers. I'm just kidding. Or am I? I don't know. Do some research. Moving on. Speaking of things that seem crazy and absurd, Indiana Jones 5 will release in 2020 with Harrison Ford in his 80s. We have talked about this franchise before when it was flirted out there, of course, with the Lucasfilm sale. What's going on with Disney franchises? When is the franchise over? And should this one end or should it open up for a reboot?
Well, supposedly it is, according to reports, the next on Steven Spielberg's slate in regards to what he's going to direct. And it's funny, like you said, Harrison Ford will be close to his 80s. Steven Spielberg will be in his mid-70s just about when the movie comes out. So I don't know how you're going to make an entertaining movie out of this, but I'm interested again to see. I'm a sucker for Indiana Jones. Number 1 and number 3 were actually 2 of the best action adventure movies out there. We won't talk about number 2 and 4, but that's
it's like the opposite of Star Trek, right? It's the every other one theory.
Exactly. So it is something I will be looking forward to and seeing how they're going to be able to parlay that and in that nostalgia and mystique. And obviously they're going to do something to either hand it off to someone else properly instead, because Shia LaBeouf, basically blew his chance. And I think it's maybe a Chris Pratt or something like that. It will be handed off to carry on in the series. But I'm also interested to see what the reception will be for Ready Player One, because if that movie hits big, because The Post, even with all of its Oscar nominations, is doing all right, as far as the movie's concerned, but it's not going to be able to garner a huge profit for what the studio that financed it. So I'm interested to see the big budgeted Ready Player One and seeing where that goes as far as and the success it might have, to see where that leads to, and if that's the case, to see if people are really still keeping Steven Spielberg in a hierarchy as far as films that are made by him that are really promoted well. So I'm if that does well at the box office, then I hold high hopes for Indiana Jones 5 in doing the same.
Well, the reality is Steven Spielberg will never be out of work. He's only working on the stuff that he wants to work on for whatever reasons he chooses to make. The Post, I don't think, was supposed to. Yeah, I rank it up there with like Lincoln. It's a small film, drama, gets to work with some great actors, gets to do some great things. It'll be a quality film for the audience that appreciates the most. But for him, he gets to do what he wants. He'll always be considered one of the greatest directors of all time, regardless of box office performance. His track record on the number of films he's done is a testament to that alone. I think Indiana Jones should retire. I would be fine with this franchise, being put to bed with, Uncharted films in development and now Tomb Raider coming out. We certainly have enough treasure hunting options that can be new and fresh without, the risk of damaging my childhood by changing a franchise and taking away everything that is in my DNA of who I am.
Hey, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, that ruined my childhood.
That's a pretty campy flick. It's the one I've watched the least. I think I've only seen it like 2 or 3 times.
Same here.
And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. That campfire scene, man. Holy brutal. So it's cringeworthy.
And the river rafting scene as well. That was bad. Yeah.
It was Spielberg's attempt at making a Bond film, right? That's really what it was. And he said that he wanted to open up with a big music number, just like a Bond film would. He has, Harrison Ford looking like James Bond in the beginning and Club Obi-Wan. Like, I don't know. I think the franchise should be put to bed. I'd be fine with it as a giant Indiana Jones fan.
And then obviously marrying the lead actress in the film later on.
Or did he? Because in the next one, they'll probably be divorced.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
Speaking of The Post and Tom Hanks, he has been cast as Mr. Rogers in a film called You Are My Friend.
Won't you be my neighbor?
That should be like the new theme show for Pop Culture Cosmos. Won't you be my cosmos? No, too soon.
Crossfire.
According to The Hollywood Reporter, the feature, which is set to begin production in September, is inspired by a real-life friendship between Rogers and award-winning journalist Tom Janode. The cynical journalist begrudgingly accepts an assignment to write a profile piece on the beloved TV icon, Mr. Rogers, and finds his perspective on life transformed. My question to you, Gerald, is after playing Walt Disney and saving Mr. Banks, and now Mr. Rogers in this, is there any kind of icon of that status that Tom Hanks can play? And I'm actually really curious if they will finally produce the script that was appeared on the blacklist on Jim Henson, and if Tom Hanks would be a suitable casting selection to play, the world's most famous puppeteer. I mean,
I know that's a good question, because I know that has been tossed around for a while. I see him as a Mr. Rogers. I definitely do. He's actually played something similar before, with SNL skits and whatnot, and has that demeanor. With a Jim Henson, that's you're more familiar with I am on Jim Henson behind the scenes. Although I worked, right near their studios for a short bit of time in the 90s, but you are more familiar with his character and persona as an individual, because I've only seen some interviews with him. So what are your thoughts on it? Because, Tom Hanks is one of the best actors of all time. And if anybody can do it, it'd be him. But I would also say I would throw out there, someone who is now considered also at the top of their game, and Gary Oldman as someone who may be able to play the role as well.
Yeah, or Daniel Day-Lewis. I think those three are really
interesting
retiring. Choices. Nobody ever retires. Nobody ever retires.
I'm just telling you. Telling you.
Well, we'll see.
But yeah, Gary Oldman, I think, could be someone that has, can completely transform into the role, as we've seen him do on many of occasions. But I would like to see some younger individuals that, have that capability, get that kind of spotlight, because Gary Oldman, Tom Hanks, and even Daniel Day-Lewis are nearing that retirement age, and there needs to be a younger younger actors and actresses that need to step up to the plate, that need to get that opportunity, not only for starring roles, but also as well for roles such as this, where they're able to go ahead like a chameleon and slip into those roles, whether they're fictional or non-fictional, and be able to portray those characters well.
Is there any other icons you can think that may be ahead for Tom Hanks to play going forward? Who else is really on a list that, yeah, that's Tom Hanks? Somebody like, what other biopic could he nail, do you think, off the top of your head?
Maybe a Bill Gates?
Yeah, or maybe even a Steven Spielberg.
Or Rupert Murdoch? I don't know. I'm just throwing those out there.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I just feel like he's always been cast as that everyman. And so Mr. Rogers is a very, it's right on point, maybe too on the nose, but because there's that comedic side to Tom Hanks, I think it's a great casting choice. And if he can pull off playing Walt Disney, certainly he can pull off playing an icon like Mr. Rogers going forward. But that'll do it for the Crossfire this week on Pop Culture Cosmos.
Oh my gosh, I think you just scared away about 5 listeners.
Oh, I guess we're down to 1.
But anyways, if you got it, and your thoughts on Crossfire,
and hopefully it's Disney Alaskan Cruise Lines that's still listening.
Yeah, exactly. If you've got any thoughts that you want to send out to us or topics you want us to cover, share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Rob McCallum Films, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanity Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. And like I said, if you get a chance, got to check out Rob McCallum Films on Facebook with all of his great information on Kitty and also other great projects he's got coming down the pike. Box art, obviously the Power of Grayskull, Masters of the Universe documentary. You've got Kitty documentary, like I said. You've got so much more going on. And of course, Backed or Busted crowdfunding. You got to check out their Facebook site as well, and you see the latest stories. I posted one the other day as far as that as an add-on with the Commodore story, and you got to find out what his thoughts are on that as well. So,
are you enjoying those? Because I think you're noticing that there's been some more pop culture friendly ones, and I think you're dipping your toes a little bit into some of those campaigns since they're in your wheelhouse.
Yes, they are. And actually, I am enjoying it. Obviously, from someone who had an Amiga a long time ago, the Commodore story does appeal to me. And that's why I actually chose that as the bonus footage for the other day on the Pop Culture Cosmos, the PCC Multiverse add-on for downloaders. So I just think that you're doing a great job with the Backed or Busted crowdfunding, looks and the series as a whole. And I just think that if you get a chance, check it out. But if you want to listen to one, we throw one every now and then on as a backup, as a bonus. So you get to check it out. And you can try a taste of it from there. And then you go ahead and you watch the, Backed or Busted crowdfunding on Facebook, YouTube. Check out the real thing.
All right. Well, until next week, my friend, unless my baby daughter's on her way.
Unless indeed. And like I said, I'm all my best to you and the family. And I said happy and healthy. That's all I'm rooting for.
All right. We'll be in touch, I'm sure.
Sounds good, my friend. Thanks so much. As always, Rob McCallum Films. Rob McCallum, as far as from Rob McCallum Films, you got to check out all of his great work today. It's Rob. It's always a great pleasure having you as part of the Cosmic Crossfire. And of course, right here on Pop Culture Cosmos.